what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Ninja Warrior podcast. We're 2 weeks late, and we haven't even edited the 2 episodes we're going to be recording here today.
That's an understatement of the year, yep. Okay, so we're going to be covering Stage 2 today, and only Stage 2. I know what we said last time, but we'd be covering a lot of shit if we did Stages 2, 3, and 4, let me tell you.
Yeah, we'd be covering 2 2-hour-long episodes, and I don't think we can do that anymore. Did you guys watch the last episode? Yeah, I don't think we ever had the plan to do not only one episode that's on par with the length of an ANW episode, but did 2 episodes on par with it, and the second one being longer than an ANW episode usually is. Yeah.
We just, you know what? I think it proves that we're ninja nerds and we're just fucking have too much things to say about these courses and stuff.
I mean, it shows that we actually have shit to talk about and shit to say about ANW, which I don't think is going to change. These last 2 episodes are like the best 2 episodes we've had in a long time. Especially the best finale we've had in a long time, too.
Oh yeah, these 2 episodes, they blow away what we had in ANW 14 and 15, totally blow it away. These 2 are just fucking crazy.
Yeah, so Stage 2, obviously, it's still a racing format. It's the same course as last year, which is very unfortunate. Nothing new hasn't changed. We still have the sliding steps, the same double samurai though. The jawbreakers, the swing surfer, epic air surfer, and falling shelves. I think one thing to note though on this is that epic air surfer, from what we could tell, wasn't rigged anymore because no one really had any specific problems with either side.
Yeah, I think that's actually really nice that we aren't worrying about a big side while we're watching this.
Yeah, and also just too, the fact that everyone who moved on here deserved to move on. Everyone who moved on to Stage 2 had finished Stage 1 like it is a normal season. So it also felt like we had some real stakes here as well.
Definitely. It didn't feel like they were shafted together, I guess the word is. I'm not really sure here. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I guess we could just go on to the races, starting Aces, since the course never changed. I don't think there's anything to go on about with it aside from what we just said. Not really. I mean, ANW just, this entire year, it feels like a retread of the previous season, but it's just, a better version of the previous season. Yeah, it's kind of weird to think of it like that, but you are correct, because, this season is just so much more cleaner than the last season, and it really is just because the results were a lot more desirable, and the fact that this is the last season of Mount Midoriyama, it feels like there's some real stakes here. I think, honestly, those 2 things are what makes this entire run of Vegas so good.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it, because the fact that there was no more Mount Midoriyama after this, and, ANW 16 is the last season of Mount Midoriyama, ANW 17 will likely be the last season of the show, or, maybe the second to last season if we're lucky, and I don't even really know how lucky that is.
Yeah, if we're going to talk about that now, I might as well go on about it for a second here. I recently got news that not only is ANW 17 filming as of next week, which is honestly quite crazy, it is also the fact that they really did take, real ultimatum with this new season, because from what I heard from that Tom guy I've been talking about recently, one of my coaches at my ninja gym, he was talking about how, this show basically got an ultimatum to where we either A, slash your budget, or B, you get canceled, which is, really, really bad of an ultimatum to give them.
Is that really what they said?
According to my coach, yes. So, yeah, that is just, kind of crazy, the fact that that's the case. This show is doing so badly that they had to slash the budget to keep it going.
I mean, I would have chose the latter option if it were me. Just cancel the show and let it end on a high note. Because this season really did have a sense of finality, and it definitely would have been a high note to end it on, considering the slogfest the last 2 seasons have been.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And you guys will see what we mean as we keep going. You guys have probably already seen both these episodes. They've been out for a while. But seeing our opinions, like, this is honestly the best way this season could have ended. And honestly, I don't think I have any, like, big gripes with it, aside from, like, obviously the format. But, like, even then, like, we still got very ideal scenarios for the format. Like, nothing really crazy happened that, like, made the format really show its bad side, I guess.
I guess it's a way of putting it, showing its bad side, because we had so many people just move on last year who didn't clear.
Yeah, as a result, we had 2 people clear stage 2 who weren't even given the chance to move on via the one-offs. But still, it's a caveat, you know?
Yeah. Alright, so, the first matchup was between Kai Beckstrand and Sean Bryan. And we already started off with a big close one.
Yeah, so Sean Bryan, he's the oldest competitor left in the competition at 40, but he was still trying to show that he's a willing contender because he was being able to stay on par with Kai, and then by the swing circle, he took a 1-cycle leap, which ended up pushing him ahead of Kai, and going into Epic AO, the two were really neck and neck. And while yes, Kai Beckstrand was able to surge ahead on the falling shells and win the course, Bryan still had a gutsy one and was the fastest non-winner. In addition to his one-handed save on the falling shelves, like, damn.
Yeah, that's just like one of the top moments of the season. Just the fact that he came that close to just getting the end of his season. And we'll get to the reason why it's even more crazy later on in the episode.
Yeah, it's just kind of, like, unsettling that was the case. That, like, he barely hung on, and he also had the fastest non-winner time. It was, like, really cool.
Yeah, and after that, we had finally Luke Beckstrand finally getting showtime after all this.
Yeah, so, Luke Beckstrand versus NASA Gilmore, that was the next matchup, and while, yes, I don't think this one was really all that remarkable, it was really cool to at least see Luke Beckstrand finally get showtime in the, because he hasn't really gotten anything in the last 3 episodes, despite doing just as well as Kai, minus a safety pass. And, Luke, you know, he got a segment, and even if it really wasn't interesting, it was still something, like, yeah, he finally got something worth a damn, you know?
Yeah. Anyway, so as you mentioned earlier, the race between the two of them was something that remarkable, with Luke Beckstrand unfortunately falling an Epic Air Server, which was unfortunate, which just surprised me. I was not expecting him to fall there. And then we had NASA Gilmore, who cleared that obstacle and made stage 2 look easy, made stage 2 look very easy.
Yeah, he didn't clear it as fast as he did last year, but it was still, like, pretty crazy of a one. He was still really pushing it. Yeah, definitely. And after that, we had Kyle Soderman and John Mack in a fast forward segment.
Yeah, this is the only race we saw in this matchup that ended with both competitors falling, with John Mack going out on the Jawbreakers, and Kyle Soderman for the third time going out on the falling, for the second time going out on the falling shelves and still moving on.
Yeah, considering what we'd end up getting later with I believe 2 ninjas completing stage 2 and not moving on because there's only 4 non-winners. Like, the fact that fucking Soderman has been allowed to go to stage 2 without finishing not once but twice is just really humorous.
Yeah, it's not cool, especially considering who ended up being those 2 people, but you know what? And especially considering the fact that Kyle didn't even do all that well on stage 3.
Yeah, that's not helping things in this regard either. Yeah, after that we had probably the worst segment of the night by far. Isaiah Thomas versus Elijah Browning. Jesus, this sucked.
Are we just gonna go into it?
I'm going straight into it. This entire segment was about both their moms, and Elijah's already had this story about his mom with breast cancer. And Isaiah's already had a story about being a quote-unquote mama's boy. So it's just 2 already seen segments slapped together, and it's just insufferable. Like, it's hard to describe just how stupid this is.
Yeah, it's kind of just annoying that we have to diss people like this, but like I think it's just because they overblow everything when someone has an energetic mom.
Yeah, the funny thing to me, actually, if I can get into it, is like, there's like 5 ninjas that have their mom being the most important thing about them. We have Adam Whale, Carson Williams, these two, and like and Enzo Wilson. Like all those people, the big thing about them is the fact that they have a mom who's super supportive. Like that's the thing.
Yeah, it's they're not even the first ones to do it. That's a good one.
And then I was actually just thinking about 2 more that you could add. Caden Lebsek and Vance Walker are both people whose moms are more important than them in some cases. Because their moms are just fucking ecstatic. And I honestly, in my opinion, I've always thought that, like, Caden's mom, like, this is probably not true. It's a big assumption on my part. I've always felt like Caden's mom put so much pressure on him to win, and that's another reason why Caden just, like, kind of fell under the pressure in season 15 and, well, as we'll talk about later, season 16.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing to point. Like, Caden's always struck me as someone who, like, never really took pressure all that well and just competed in the moment. And when the pressure's always there, that's when, the nerves kind of get there and it's difficult for him to deal with that. And, like, he always, like, I kind of felt that way because I kind of just, yeah.
Yeah, so, anyway, with their ones, it really wasn't even all that remarkable. With Isaiah unfortunately falling an epic air surfer and then Elijah Browning clearing. Though Elijah did get a .99 on the clock, so that's something, I guess.
I mean, I feel like that's like not like the most insignificant thing about the one, but I guess.
I personally find it fascinating when you get .99 or .00 on a clock or something. Weird. Yeah, I don't get it either. It's just, weird, like you said. After that, we had another not shown one from Noah Munier, where he's facing up against Joe Meisner.
Yeah, they really, like, I understand not showing this one. Really nothing happened, I get it. But, like, they really should have showed a stage 1-1. And I think as the segment really is just for us to hammer that home.
Yeah, so that's what happened there. Joe Meisner went out on the Jawbreakers, and Noah ended up clearing with a time of 119. And after that, we had the next shown matchup, that being Jackson Twait versus Cal Boas.
Yeah, so this was actually another close race with both of them being really close to each other with Cal being the winner and clearing, but Jackson also clearing as well, meaning he was in the top 4 non-winners.
Yeah, that was quite interesting, just seeing that kind of battle, because they were quite close, and Cal's always someone I wanted to see get the stage 3. So, the fact that he was able to do that, really good to see. It made me very happy.
Yeah, Cal's always just been like that person who's just like always someone we knew would do well on the show if he got a chance. And the fact that he got that chance in the last season of the show, it's really good to see.
Yeah, definitely. After that, we had Colson Scuster, we actually learned how his name was pronounced this time around, and Daniel Gill was the next shown one. Another one that really wasn't all the remarkable with Daniel Gill winning, but Colson Scuster clearing as well, but with a too slow enough time to move on, so he wasn't able to, move on. He was one of those, I think it was actually means that it was 3 ninjas who scored stage 2 but didn't move on.
Yeah, because I'm calling 2 others that want him, so yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and after that, we had something that was actually somewhat remarkable. Austin Gray versus James the Beast McGrath.
Yeah, so this segment, it was all about Austin Gray and how he's retiring, and it's honestly for no reason. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he announced he was retiring because of the whole Vegas thing, and then they're making this crazy spot because publicity!
I mean, we already had that with Najee. There's no reason why Austin needed that kind of send-off, too. Like, even if like Austin's been competing for about as much time as Najee, like I don't think I really care enough for Austin at that point. Like, technically speaking, Austin is one of the greats, but like he never really felt that way to me personally.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's kind of one of those ninjas that came out of nowhere. Like, he started in season 10, and all of a sudden he was a star by, like, season 13. It was in stage 3. And we talked about it back then, too. It was just, like, not expected for him to do that good. And, like, just the improvement over 3 years, because we hadn't seen him in Vegas since 2018, like, that felt so big at the time, and here it's like, it feels so weird for him to be one of the top ninjas, and for us, with him at age 27, us already celebrating his departure from the show. Like, what?
Yeah, and then we have James, who is probably the more likely person to get this kind of story. But, and he's also one of the older ninjas, but he still put on a real show, and honestly a performance of a lifetime here.
Yeah, definitely. He tried really hard to stick with it and get back to stage 3. It was probably the number one thing on his mind because it's been so long since he's been there too. And he really did put up one hell of a fight, definitely.
Yeah, Austin did end up winning, and he had a big lead over James. James was still trying to make moves to stay ahead, like, for example, trying to make a one cycle on the swing surf and ended up backfiring on him. But, strangely enough, he still caught up to Austin after the epic air server, so very briefly they were neck and neck, but James was just too tired to keep going at that point, so Austin cleared. And James McGrath, he cleared as well and was in the 4th place spot in the non-winners. And was just barely able to get into a one-off race as he came very close to being beaten by a future ninja we'll get into later.
Yeah, it's like that one right there. I think it's one of those remarkable just because James McGrath, he hadn't been to stage 2 in so long, but he still cleared it and still like showed it who's boss. Like that right there is like the ultimate comeback or something along those lines, man.
Yeah, I think James McGrath has to get that comeback season. Nomination at least, but I feel like he's gonna win it this year. Like, I just have that feeling because his season was so publicized and, like, so impressive from just, like, a statistics standpoint. Like, it's crazy to think that, he now has the stance of, like, David Campbell and stuff, and he's still doing so well.
Yeah, it is, like, if Campbell was, still, like, showing, I mean, yeah, he still is, but, like, it didn't feel like that Campbell was still, like, one of the old dogs,
Yeah, kinda. I think, actually, a thing that we mark on is, like, on this topic of, like, the ninjas getting older and, like, the veterans seeming like, people who have definitely gone past their heyday because ANW has gone on for a decent amount of time at this point, over a decade. Like, there were a lot of ninjas who were definitely contenders to win it way back then. Like James McGrath and we're talking about later, Joe Mawaski. As of now, Philip Rodriguez, like, ninjas like that, Campbell, like, all those ninjas who were, like, top veterans, we were sure they were gonna win at some point, like, and now they're at points to where they might still compete, but, like, they're definitely considered one of the old dogs, and it really doesn't feel that way.
Yeah, definitely. I think Sean Wyatt and Adam Whale also fall into that category, too.
Yeah, because they both competed for the same amount of time, and it really definitely felt like they were some of the older vets, but they're still, like, both in that position. Where Adam Whale, he's competing for, Sean, he's the oldest person on stage 2, and then later on stage 3. And then Whale, yes, Whale is much younger than Sean, it's still, like, there.
Yeah, definitely. After that, we had Caleb Bergstrom and Max Feinberg. And, guys, we got another unremarkable race to talk about.
Yeah, so Caleb first off got his, like, 4th segment this year about his fucking kid, who, by the way, Ashley isn't even pregnant yet as of filming.
Yeah, we don't care about that shit. Why would we?
The joke is, too, like, not only is she not even pregnant here, they're also showing footage from a whole year into the future with the gender reveal party. Like, damn.
Yeah, another reason why this segment hits so hard is Caleb says, word for word, I can't wait for 15, wait to see the day in 15 years when my kid is on American Ninja Warrior. And I'm just like, sorry man, I highly doubt the show's gonna last that long.
Yeah, there's no way, like, this racing format thing they're doing next year is going to be sustainable. If Mount Midoriyama wasn't sustainable for them, there is no way fucking racing in Vegas is gonna be. Like, yeah.
That's definitely it. That's definitely it. The race itself, we said was unremarkable. It really is, where Caleb was just very far ahead of Max all throughout it and cleared. And well, yes, Max still cleared as well and was in the top 4 non-winners. It's just like, really unremarkable. A remarkable voice it was.
Yeah, I think the only one thing I have to mention about Caleb's segment, again, is the fact that at the end of it, they had, after his name, they had +1, referring to the fact that, he's having a kid.
Just, wow. We've already gone on about it. It's a little off.
Yeah, to put it bluntly. After that, we had Caden Lebsek versus Sam Folston, and weirdly enough, I would personally call this a shock of the night.
Yeah, we had Caden fall on Jawbreakers. Really an undesirable outcome for him. I gotta ask, was this actually surprising to you?
A little bit, it was not what I was expecting. I was so expecting Caden to win and Sam to be one of the top non-winners. So the fact that Caden lost and fell even earlier than last year, that fucking got me, man. Like, that I might just put in my most shocking fails, because that got me. I was not expecting Caden to fall again.
Yeah, that just happens. Like, Caden, we talked about it just earlier this episode, that pressure really got to him, and it was just crazy.
Yeah, that led to Sam Folston getting the win, clearing the course with a time of 1:37. Honestly, good for him. I'm really glad he got the stage 3.
Yeah, I was definitely expecting him to get there, but like you said, as a non-winner in this position, crazy.
Yeah, after that we had the final fast-forward segment of the night, that being between Joe Mowalski and Kevin Rodriguez, where Kevin ended up going out on the striding steps, and Joe ended up clearing the course, which is really good to see. Joe Mowalski moving on to stage 3, breaking a record, breaking his own record, as now he's gone to stage 3 6 times in his career. More than anyone else. It's also more than anyone else, so it's just cool to see Mowalski clear.
Yeah, and because all that happens in the finale, it really is like a big calm before the storm.
Yeah, we will get there in the next episode of the podcast. But the next race was between Josiah Propel and Cam Baumgartner, and man, this one was hard to watch.
Yeah, so Josiah had a clear lead all throughout this and finished first. But Cam also had a decent one, too. But unfortunately, he was... Well, yes, he cleared. It was not fast enough to be a non-winner, just barely not beating McGrath's time by just under a second. For Cam, man, I know he's been there before, and he's been completely getting the shaft as of this season, but, come on.
Yeah, I think personally speaking, that thing I mentioned last year about the whole rule change, and that one modification I would have made to it back then was that, yes, if you lose your race, you lose your race, and you don't get to go to stage 3, but if you do end up clearing if you fail, you do have it left up to the top 4, but similar to stage 1, if you clear, you are going to a runoff no matter what.
Yeah,
One-off no matter what. And if there's only 5, just pick someone who fell on the falling shelf or something. that would just be a more desirable outcome, and it would mean we, don't have people finishing stage 2 and not moving on, and a case like that,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know, like, technically speaking, it could still mean that someone finished and didn't move on, but it would just feel a lot more fair considering the original rules of Sasuke and Ninja Warrior and stuff. So, like, I feel you, man. It's definitely up there.
Yeah, that led us to the final normal matchup between Vance Walker and Flip Rodriguez. Another tough one to watch. Because Flip, he's one of the all-time vets and someone I really wanted to win. But Vance was obviously going to win just because it's the most predictable outcome ever.
Yeah, so Vance was obviously ahead for most of this race. Flip kept it close admittedly enough, but Vance still had the lead all through for most of it. And cleared the course of 118 left. Leading to Flip and putting his heart into it on the falling shelves, and he came also close to eating James McGrath's time.
Yeah, so he was technically even slower than Cam by a couple 100ths of a second. I mean, he wasn't able to move on either. But for Flip, it hit even harder because he's only finished stage 2 one other time, and he was someone you were expecting to win. So, just... Ugh.
Yeah, man. I understand the idea. Like, we really are fighting between veterans on this one because Flip is a top veteran. We would have loved to see move on, but we also would have lost James McGrath if we also would have lost fucking James McGrath if Flip can't beat his time. Like, it's really crazy to think about, especially since they were only a second behind, not even.
Yeah, just fucking crazy. That led us to the 2 runoffs races, which, by far, I think were the best races on this Stage 2 course.
Oh, yeah, both of these. First off, we had Max Feinberg versus Jackson Twait, which was a real neck-and-neck race. I swear both of them were next to each other the entire round, even up till the final round on the falling shelves. But Max Feinberg missed on that last grab, meaning that it wasn't a buzzer beater, and Twait got a clean win. It was still fucking close, and probably the closest we'll ever get to state, and definitely the closest we ever got to having a buzzer beater on the Stage 2 course.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy that that's the outcome we got here. Max, man, you put up one hell of a fight to try to get back to Stage 3. And Galassa Twait, he's never really someone I saw being a top contender to make Stage 3 at all, but, he did it. Even if the circumstances had to be this way in order for it to happen for him, I'm still really happy for him.
Yeah, definitely. But that doesn't mean that this race doesn't hit hard. That doesn't mean that, like, the next race is anything to spoof at either. It was James McGrath versus Sean Bryan, and God, this was even harder to watch.
Yeah, like, this was even harder. 2 top veterans, both we would have loved to see on Stage 3. And, like, this was just as close as that last race we were just talking about with Feinberg and Twait. Like, these two, they are almost the same age. McGrath might have more experience, but it was so much more desirable. And I find it really funny how he said in his segment, "Get in line, Sean." Like, that, James, if nothing else, is a very funny guy.
I guess so, yeah. He's made jokes in every one he has this season. And, like, here's McGrath. It's like, the desirable outcome is him clearing getting to Stage 3, definitely.
Yeah, it's really hard. And to see these two go head-to-head being so close, like, it just was the big push the Stage 2 needed.
For sure. So, the two of them, they were neck and neck all throughout, just like Feinberg and Twait. They were really close going into the falling shells, but then McGrath was able to link it at the beginning, allowing him to shoot ahead of Bryan. Bryan was still, like, very close behind, so he had to make some kind of move. And that kind of led to him kind of rushing the final move where he kind of flopped his hands into position, meaning he wasn't able to catch the final falling shelf. And Sean, just to rub salt in that open realm, got a second one-handed save This time on the other hand. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like the fact that he had to do that twice is more hilarious. But just like James, man, you almost got stage 3 just because you were just a wee bit faster. Like, like if he had moved on, that would have been like a real comeback too. Because like, he barely moved on. He was almost beaten by 2 different people within a second, and he had one shot and he really gave it his all. Like, by far, I think James McGrath had I think considering veterans and, like, overall, had probably the most intense and, like, watchable season. Intense and, like, down to the wire season ever.
Yeah, I don't even think, like, Joe Mowaski's season really matches the, what's the word? Overcomance that James McGrath has had to do in order to keep going. Like, his qualifying one, he had a remarkable save on wheel to wheel. And in the semis, he moved on as well. And on stage 1, he got revenge and cleared it with only 5 seconds left and a really gutsy one. Like, this was James's year. Like, by far. No matter where it ended, whether it ended here or stage 3, like, I don't think James was really someone who was going to clear something like stage 3, and it would have been awesome to see him there again, but, like, it hits so hard.
Yeah, so if we didn't already say it outright, Sean Bryan, yeah, we did say it. Sean Bryan cleared in 1, and he moved on to stage 3, being the oldest ninja, not only this season to do it, but also entirely as well, beating Travis Rosen's record.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Technically speaking, Jason McGrath also just beat Travis Rosen's record earlier this episode when he cleared, but, the eldest person to actually move on.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never knew that. But, yeah, that's stage 2 of 1.
Yeah, so, here's the thing. Well, yes, we are gonna record stage 3. Like, literally tonight. We are going to be cutting this episode of the podcast right here just for editing purposes to make it a little bit easier on our shoulders.
Yeah, because it's like, we'd be here for what, like over 90 minutes? I can definitely see us talking for a long time on stage 3, and it's better to split it while we have the chance.
Yeah, so we will see you guys next time for the finale. Yep, so we're going to be covering the last episode and a half of the show. Talking about stages 3 and 4. I hope you guys are excited for that finale coming up hopefully next week, whenever this ends up getting uploaded. We and Crystal are going to be trying our best to work on these episodes together and try to get them out within only a week of each other, so that way you guys aren't waiting too long on these. So at this point, they've already been waiting over 2 weeks since the finale aired. So yeah, it's I don't even know if it was worse than even worse than last year. Like I'd have to look again, but like, it's like us trying to cut corners to make sure that we get these out on time a little bit.
I wouldn't even say it was cut corners. I wouldn't even say it's cut corners. I would say it's more like doing what we need to do to make sure these episodes on their own.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. But anyway, we're gonna be next episode. We're doing stages 3 and 4, and covering the last ANW 16. Hope to see you guys there. Peace.